Well, we are so happy that we can welcome Clemson's food safety and nutrition team members tonight, Kimberly Baker and Shana Madden. And y'all are going to talk about some changes that have come that were mandated by the FDA. So what have they decided to do to us now?
Yes, they've made some changes. It's been 20 years since they made a change to the Nutrition Facts panel. So with the new updated information and research from health science and nutrition areas, they're making it a little bit easier for our consumers to read and understand that Nutrition Facts panel and therefore make healthier food choices.
And what is the Nutrition Facts panel?
On the Nutrition Facts panel, you can find that on the back of a food item, and there's several changes. And the first thing that we can talk about as far as those changes goes, the serving size. So on the Nutrition Facts panel, the servings per container and the serving size declaration have increased, and they're now in larger and bolder type. And the reason they changed those, they made that more about what someone might actually eat or consume versus what's just actually printed on the label.
So Shana, before it was kind of, in an ideal world, this is what somebody would eat.
On paper, this is what someone would eat.
But they went in and studied this, and they said, no, really, actually, generally, people are going to that's not what we're seeing.
They're consuming more than what's on the label, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we're all a little guilty of that at times, aren't they?
We are. Yeah. Well, they've also changed the requirements for our package sizes. So here I have a 12 ounce, a 20 ounce, and a 24 ounce bottle.
And that could be a soft drink.
To a soft drink, a 20 ounce soft drink. And those packages are between 1 and 2 servings, or larger than a single serving, but could be consumed in one or multiple settings.
You know, nobody's going to split that with somebody. I mean, my sister might, but she only weighs 85 pounds. But most people are going to drink that whole thing.
That's true. So you would typically consume that in one setting. However, something that has 1 or more servings has to have something that they call a dual column label, and that's going to be put on the package for the per serving and the per package amount. That way, if you sit down and have your 1 serving of ice cream, you'll know how many calories you ate. Or if you would do like I would do and eat that whole pint of ice cream, then you would know how much the whole package may
So if you really are trying to keep up with things, it's just going to make it easier to do that, keep that math going in your head and be accurate in what you're doing.
That's correct. And again, with the calories, they're also listed in both larger and bolder type, just like the serving size for you to make that.
So you know what's coming.
Well. Yes.
And you said that things like some of these prepackaged soups and things, they originally thought that that'd be fine for 2 people, but we just tend to eat a little bit more now.
That's correct. That can be said now to be up to 2 servings, but we would be used to consuming that in 1 serving.
Probably. Most of us would. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about what this label is actually going to look at.
Sure.
So we've said that some things are bigger, and I think we've got a picture of the label up there. So it's right, the serving size, it used to be you had to really squint to read that.
Exactly. It was a little bit below the serving size. Now it's kind of moving up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we see that calories, a lot bigger.
Yo, whoa,
so,
boy. Yeah, you can't act like you didn't know. That's true.
Miss the calories.
Yeah, calories
no, definitely
count
not.
Yes,
calories count for sure.
Yeah.
But one of the things about calories that's going away is we no longer see the calories from fat.
Yeah, and that used to be something I would always look at that. But why did they decide to change that?
Yeah, the research has found that what type of fat we're consuming is more important for our health than the calories that come from the fat. We always think calories in, calories out. So calories are indeed important. But when it comes to specifying how much calories we're getting from the fat, we really need to look at what types of fat we're choosing. So that's why we also see on our panels that the saturated fat and the trans fat are mandatory to be listed. So we know that those are the fats we need to be most concerned about. So we know how much of those fats are in that food product we're consuming.
So Shana, if we're sitting in a store and looking at 2 different things, we can look at those fats, and if we see that it's high in trans fats, and the other is low, we might decide to make that choice. So that is going to be useful to some of us.
That would be a lot easier, especially for folks that are trying to make small lifestyle changes, and diet is a great place to start looking at 2 food items and being able to compare those and see that is very important. And we're hoping that those changes are going to make headway as people make those small lifestyle changes.
Well, I mean, just if it's available without a whole lot of trouble, I mean, we all want to do better.
Correct. It's
and
easier
this is
to
going to make it easier.
That's right. By looking at it, you can understand.
Now, we've got cholesterol, sodium, and carbohydrates, fiber. Have those changed?
Those have not changed. So we're not going to see any changes there. The next change we see on the label that I think is one of the big things to change other than the calories and serving size is the added sugars category. So, what are added sugars? Why is it on there? We have found that if someone gets more than 10% of their calories every day from added sugars, then they have less chance to get the nutrients that they need. And so what added sugars are those added sugars that are
make
in
it
our
taste
foods.
better, make it
correct
sweeter on our tongue.
Exactly. So instead of just labeling total sugars, which we still have that, we're also going to break it down to the added sugars. So we know what is the natural sugars for that product, and then also what sugar has been added during processing. So if we compare a label, let's say some canned peaches that have no added sugar versus the added sugar, now we can really see, indeed, we have how much added sugar is on that product.
And again, as we said, because you're interested in this from the dietary and health standpoint.
That's correct.
If we can just get people to start this can be a small change. But
Absolutely,
it could make a
and it's been shown that lifestyle changes come in small changes. So starting with diet, we obviously food is huge in our life. So if we can start with simple things like diet and incorporate very small changes, you could see change pretty quick.
Okay, and then protein, that's the same. But then when we got down here to vitamins and minerals, some things are gone and some new things are there.
Yes, exactly. We still have 4 nutrients that are listed, but you'll notice that vitamin A and vitamin C are no longer on that list that are mandatory.
And why
we could still see those, but they've taken that off because most Americans no longer have any deficiencies in vitamins A and C.
Oh, so that's a plus.
That's a plus.
Okay.
But research is finding that Americans now are having deficiencies in vitamin D and potassium. So we replaced the vitamins A and C with vitamin D and potassium in that area. We're still keeping calcium and iron, but then also the other difference is that we're adding the amount of those vitamins and minerals in addition to the percent
like
daily
milligrams
value.
or okay.
Exactly. So we didn't have that
micrograms.
before.
Okay.
Exactly.
But you also give us the percentage that you need to get.
Yes, we have the percent daily value, and that could be confusing for consumers. So they've also reworded that footnote that's down at the bottom of the panel to help consumers understand a little bit better about what that percent daily value is, and to make sure they understand that that's the percent based on a 2,000 calorie diet, which is generally used for recommendations of
an adult,
of an adult when we're just generally talking about general nutrition.
So how are you going to get this information to the group that you're targeting as our first extension agent with this responsibility?
So we hope in the next coming months to be able to expose our viewers to what we plan to do with Health Extension, but starting off, we plan to have programs on lifestyles such as diet, exercise, weight management, things like that, and we want to take information like this and put it in a way that everybody could understand, even someone with a lower reading level, and exposing these folks to ways that they can understand so they can make these small lifestyle changes and incorporate some sort of education.
So you don't have to have a medical degree to figure this out. You're going to present it to people in just basic ways so they can try to take control for themselves of some things that might give them a healthier lifestyle.
More high blood pressure, more hypertension, high cholesterol, and something as simple as these changes on the food label could really help us in that in the future.
And Kimberly, these are going to be unrolling over the next 2 years, I think, and your role is going to be...
Yes, large manufacturers have until July 26th of 2018, and our smaller manufacturers July 26th of 2019. So we're just starting to see some products on the market with this new nutrition facts panel. So, get used to it now, but it's coming. And then for myself, I work with food entrepreneurs across the state, and we do nutrition facts panels for their products. So we're already providing them.
You do the testing and results.
Yes, we do. So we're already providing them with this new layout. So when they're producing their products, they're already getting on the market with the new panel.
And we're encouraging everyone to look on your food items and look for those new panels and notice those changes, because they are pretty easy to note, but it's interesting to see what products have already made those changes, like the big groups, and then the smaller groups haven't made those changes.
Well, we'll be looking for them. And I'm going to tell y'all that Shana had such great nutrition as a child that poor Kimberly and I had to stand on a box because she just grew so great. And I wish my mom had given me the same nutrition you had. Anyway, we thank y'all for the good work that you're doing, helping South Carolinians have a better lifestyle through some simple lifestyle changes. And we look forward to having you come back and telling us more. And if people want to learn more in the meantime, what's a good way for them to do that?
Sure. Probably the best way is to call Adair Hoover at our Home and Garden Information Center.
The same one that we talk about.
Yes, exactly. We have her there to talk about food safety, nutrition, and then also our food to market program. So she can pretty much help you with your question or guide you to your local extension agent, particularly if you've got questions about nutrition and programming in your area.
And I want to add in, we have some health-related fact sheets that are going to be posted very soon on our HDIC website, so that's something new that our viewers are going to see that are actually on health concerns or conditions, so we're very excited to launch those.
Well, good. We'll be happy to tell everybody to look those up as well.
We're excited. Thank you.
And I look forward to having y'all come back frequently and keeping us updated.
Thank you.
Okay.